Forgot to put myself in a stream. Hey, cool gamers. Sorry. I'm gonna wait for a couple of people to get in here. Look, I got mascara. This is kind of a last minute impromptu live. So I know some people are gonna wander in here. Um, sorry, I'm just making sure I have. Hey, Jameson. Jameson, hold on a second. Jameson, don't go anywhere. Um, don't go anywhere, Jameson. It's weird to hear yourself talk back to yourself. All right, sorry. I'm trying to figure out who my mods are. Hey, Punkette. Um, so I don't know how I'm still really sick. Actually, I feel like my entire household is falling apart. I have not been able to shake this virus, whatever it is. I mean, I've tested for everything, and it's all negative. And some of my other family had it, like outside of my house, and it's just this virus. It literally started in my throat. It worked its way down to its chest, and now it's up in my head. And I am telling you, it is awful. I've had it like hardcore since Thursday, and I still feel as bad. Today was just different. Like instead of my throat and chest hurting, today it was just all in my head. But anyways, I had to start a job today, but because I was still really sick, I had to work from home. But I'm hoping to go in tomorrow finally. But in the meantime, my daughter has what I have. My other son is starting to feel sick, and my third child was like sound asleep 20 minutes ago and wakes up in bloody scream and agony of his ear with like a massive ear infection. My husband had to take him to get after hours and everything. So it must be that, James. There's just something hanging out. They said there's a virus going around right now that's just like there's nothing you can do for it, and it just lasts forever. So yeah, I was like, all right, what is going on that my entire house is falling apart the week that I need it to be put together? So, anyways, oh yeah, for sure, Jameson, definitely. Um, yeah, Punkette, you had strep that turned to tonsillitis. You were really sick too for a while. Yeah, it's awful. I just was like I just wanted to pretty much die the entire day trying to make it through virtual meetings and stuff, but it was fine. You lived through it. You lived through it. But I hate ear infections. And it was really awful. I hate hearing my son, like, he was so upset. And I hate it because ear infections are just nothing you can do right away about it. You know, I gave him Tylenol, but I know, grab your Lysol, Jameson. But yes, everybody, please, there is whatever virus is going around right now. They say it's not COVID. It's just one that hangs on. So, um, anyways, I do want to talk about a couple things. There's been some massive breaking news in the day, and we'll talk about it more tomorrow night. But I want to address a couple things, and I'm pretty quiet for the most part on my channel. As far as I try to rein it in. I go off on my speeches, but I try to rein it in for certain things. Um, but I don't know if it's just being sick or what, but like I've kind of had a little bit of enough of it all. And I think that if we can't listen to, we all know, I mean, so here's the deal. Everybody's like, well, people are covering the monkey Michael Vaughn case, and, they didn't even know the case before. Well, yeah, I did. You know what? You're absolutely right. I didn't know the case before. I only became a creator in April, and I didn't know the case before. There's a lot of cases I don't know before that I didn't, I can't even talk, that I didn't know prior that I know now that I've started digging into. Absolutely. In my mind, if you're covering cases with facts and support of the family, then cover away. Okay. But when I see people on panels that I know firsthand have tortured Michael Vaughn's family, who have said the most horrendous, horrific things about Michael Vaughn's family. And when I see them up on a panel of 400 people pretending like they've never said a single thing and like, oh, trying to talk about the case and, oh, well, you know, not, it drives me mad. It literally drives me mad. And I'll tell you why. Because just like my title says, how we handle when we're wrong says a lot about why we do this. Sorry, it really has me very upset. It has me very upset. If you've watched Melissa Jade's channel at all the past couple of days, she's had some really great coverage on. She's, been passionate in her own way about what's been going on with BHB. Hey, Kate, and all of that kind of stuff. And hey, Sarah. Sarah's another one, and Kate too. Hold on, guys. I can't think and talk and type at the same time. Hold on a second. Where'd Sarah go? Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm way out of it. So, somebody remind me. My head is so out of it. Oh, about Bullhorn Betty and her disgusting comments to Danny. And then I jump right over to this Dolly's live, who I didn't even know before that, who's justifying all of these things, saying that these things didn't happen. People in a chat is saying, yes, they did. She just deleted the live. And then I hop over to this other panel and I see a woman that I know. There's Jen. I said the most vicious things about Michael Vaughn's parents. And not even an apology. And here is my issue with I don't know why it's frustrating me. In my head, it was all thought out. Here's a situation. My husband actually kind of helped me, and he called me out on it. Okay, so last night, and we'll talk a little bit about what happened in Michael's, but last night somebody put on a different YouTube channel that that her charges, this Sarah Wandra, whatever her name, her charges were failure reported death. She said she called the jail and that it was failure. Yes, Jen, and one of them is sitting on a panel of 400 people pretending like she's been a supportive the whole time. Okay, anyways. And and let me just, before I move on from this too, because that reminds me of something. The people saying, well, kids don't just wander off. If you haven't had, y'all, I'm not even kidding you. I came home, ask Amber. I came home one day when my 9-year-old boy, hey, allegedly, I came home one day and I was like, I was on Natasha. We were on a group call and I was like, all of a sudden you could hear me say, why are you on the roof? Like he'd gotten out of the window. He's 9 or whatever. Look, kids wander. And yes, I'm just saying, like, we don't know that he wandered. I'm just getting so, I know, I'm just getting so frustrated. I'm just, yeah, remember that, Amber? Oh my gosh. Yo, my house is a hot mess, and anybody who pretends like their house isn't a hot mess is lying. If you have one kid or more, your house is crazy. Hey, Ava. So Jen just made me think of that when she said that, because I saw a different chat was like, well, how do the parents let their child wander? Look, if you live in a small and I get it, but if you live in a place, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's just really hard to explain. I don't know. I'm not saying that they're right or wrong, but what I know is that there's a mother literally like pleading for people to do the right thing. There is a family that people abused for how many months has he been missing? Well, over a year, right? 275 days or 475 days pleading, or just absolutely, or people were just torturing this family. And guess what? They most likely had absolutely nothing to do. You know what? I'm going to say they had nothing to do with it. People wanting to fly drones over his house, the where they're digging. Can you imagine being a mother and a drone spotting where your child is buried, catching a glimpse of your buried son before you even get a chance to see it to come to terms that he's there? Like, I just, yeah, Jen, exactly. Like, right, Caddy, Texas. I know. It's like, look, we do the best we can at raising the kids. We do the best we can. And I know everybody in my chat right now loves their kids, because I know most of you. And we do the best we can. And some days we look at ourselves and we're just thankful we all made it out alive from that day, and we move on. If you think that Michael Vaughn's dad doesn't beat himself up every single day of his life for what happened, you're wrong. He will never forgive himself. I didn't either, Jameson, until I started to dig into it. But so, my example. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm sorry. So my example, and my husband called me out. He's pretty balanced. He doesn't do a lot of drama. I think it's because he's a guy. Well, some guys do, but he doesn't. So this woman said she called the jail yesterday, and that the jail said she was in there for failing to report a death. And I was like, I basically called her right out on this YouTube channel and chat. I said, no jail is going to tell you that, like, I know everything, right? And then somebody responded and said, no, this jail will tell you. And I was like, okay, I'll test your theory. I didn't, but no jail is going to do that. Haha. I'm thinking all big of myself. Well, wouldn't you know? What, like 3 hours ago, 4 hours ago, the charges come out about Sarah Wandra. And what are they? Failure to report a death. And so I was telling my husband, and he was like, so you called out a person that was actually telling the truth, and you just got owned, and you need to make that right. And so I just said to the person, I was really I was wrong. You were right. Whatever. And they said, they made a joke about it, and they were like, I must have gotten the one idiot that day that totally leaked information to me that wasn't supposed to. And then we laughed, and it was great. But like, my husband was right. Like, we get really caught up in these cases, and we say really awful things sometimes. But how we handle it has got to be better. I don't understand. I don't understand how you can sit on a panel after destroying a family for 475 days and collect profits, pretending like you never said anything about them at all. I don't know. My mom and dad raised 7 of us, spent a lot of time. Yep. Exactly. Well, Red Rock, that's just a thing too. We also grew up in a little bit of a different time frame. Now we can't send our kids everywhere, like that. And this was the other thing I wanted to talk about is Kate gets a lot of this because I will spout off to her, Punkette or Amber. Right. We need to do better. And Melissa Jade said it right. We're not law enforcement. Do we want the families to speak because we want to know the answers? We absolutely do. But at the end of the day, they shouldn't speak. And so it's like this Trinity Backus case. Look, I'm not saying nothing happened. I'm not saying this. But what I'm saying is that her aunt literally walks every detail of what happened through in a Facebook post. Because I read so many Facebook posts saying from people, well, Trinity's dad was on panel did you see this interview? He told the truth, all this stuff. I'm dying inside because let me just tell you something. Kate, word it for me in chat. Don't believe everything you see. Don't believe everything that you hear on YouTube. I'm just saying, like, that's all I'll say about that. Kate is covering that story and is friends with the family and stuff, but it is maddening. Yeah, all I can do is hear the mother yesterday, and then today she made a plea again because I guess one of them, I don't know who, but one of them got a YouTuber got involved or something. Oh, it was the drones wanting to go over, I guess. But yeah, and it's driving me nuts, Jen. And there is a point to this live, and I'll get to it, but it's really, really bothering me. Like it's driving. If we can't say we're sorry for certain things, if we can't own when we've not vetted something correctly, if we don't do that stuff, then we don't really, we're not in it for the right reasons. It's just really bothered me lately, and I just had to, I had to throw that out before I move on. But like, I follow I Am Legacy on Twitter, who I absolutely adore because they always have facts and they are very invested, and they have been invested in Michael's case now since the beginning. And they're downright like, I mean, legitimately crying. This case has affected them so much. Like, it's just really sad. Oh, Jen, that's why I'm letting Kate, I had to listen to me. Jen said it better. Just hear both sides of the stories before you draw an opinion that dad is dad of the year. There's a reason his daughter's not in his life. Yeah, I mean, when a creator my gosh, you guys remember? I mean, for the longest time, we thought Nikki Kessinger had a baby. It has been a heavy day, Ava, and I think it has. There's been, reading about the shooting at University of Virginia, the football players, and then just reading about the Idaho students, the 4 of them, homicide, still nobody in custody, said they can't figure out a reason that something like this would happen other than it's straight up murder. And all right, yeah, Kate can come up. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Trinity, but not too much because she's working on it for her live tomorrow night. But it has, so Ava, I agree with you. It's been a heavy day. And Ava, you know what I respect about you? I respect that you go to many different chats. You don't really engage in drama. You just kind of go, and I really respect that. I do respect seeing you around and your opinion on things. But I do want to, if you guys have not heard, in Michael Vaughn's case, I guess this was mainly leaked, so it wasn't supposed to be leaked. And now that everybody said whatever news station leaked it, I'm wondering, because I told you this person knew last night. Hey, Danielle, this person knew last night what Sarah's charges were because she called the jail. So I'm guessing that the jail that Sarah's in was leaking this information and just telling people as they called. Because she had the charge word for word last night. Should she have called? That's not my business. Regardless, she was right. And that was last night, y'all. But what we do know is Sarah, Criminality has it on her page, and it's just so much easier. Sarah and Stacy, that married couple. So Criminality says awesome. So this is what happened. This is what we found out that, is Kate here yet before I go reading this? No. This is what we found out about Sarah, the wife. According to court, this is the yard of the people that they're digging in for Michael Vaughn. They said they're going to dig 3 feet, I believe it was, but they're going to do it like they said they will cover every inch of that backyard. So it says, according to court documents, police forced entry into the Wandra's home around 9:30. I do want to make sure it's clear about something. So the husband has been, y'all, I found out some things last night digging. Oh, there she is. Hey.
Hey.
So I just want to fill in on this really quick. So the husband has been in jail since May. And he has been in jail several times for felony and all burglary and all this kind of stuff. She was just arrested Friday night. She's had a history, obviously, of running with the law. What people don't know, 4 inches, thank you, Mel, 4 inches at a time, 3, yeah. What people don't know is that, and some might, they are divorced as of May 18th or something along those lines.
Stacey and Sarah?
Yes, because they never did it. They filed the papers. I think I sent you the thing. They filed the papers, and hey, I could be wrong, but I'm going to send it to you. They filed papers, and it says basically they didn't show up or whatever, and so it's, I don't know what happened, but it just says it was dissolved in May.
Oh, wow.
So let me send this to you.
Like, if I had to, like, I'm just speculating here, and this is just if I had to guess. It almost sounds like to me, like maybe he was out riding his scooter, knocked on some of his neighbors' doors to see if the kids could come out or something, and maybe there was some type, like she accidentally hit him or something and panicked.
So I
just, because I know they were asking about his scooter. And
what is, Mike, what does that mean? Sorry, I'm not trying to cut you off. Mike's in law enforcement. So what is vacated, like that? So does that mean because he was in jail? So does vacate? Okay, you're gonna have to park. I'm full of like mucus and stuff.
Let me check Google.
Does that mean like they're still married then?
If the divorce was
rebellious, so you're recording BHB put out about Danny is disgusting. Yeah. Okay, so they are, that's what it means. So they're still married. It just means it's timed out. Hey, Jingles, because he was in jail. Okay. Thank you guys thanks, Mike. Thanks, guys. I was trying to figure out exactly. So back to this. So it says that.
So, for instance,
yeah, go ahead.
An example. Phaedra Parks filed divorce from Nita while he was in prison for his role in a financial fraud scheme. Shortly after the divorce was finalized, Nita fought the ruling on the grounds that he felt he was taken advantage of because he could not mount a strenuous defense on his behalf while behind bars. So there was a divorce, but they felt like it wasn't fair, I guess. In addition to wanting the divorce vacated, Nita is seeking joint custody of their 2 sons. So I guess they want like a do-over.
Yeah.
In essence, it's a do-over. A motion to vacate a judgment is a request for the court that decided the original divorce case make the verdict unenforceable because of some mistake.
Okay. Yeah, so on March of 2019, which is actually just less than a year since they were married, Sarah filed against Stacey. But then, like they said, it was no children, vacated or whatever. Thank God. She has a child, but they're 18. I didn't realize she's a lot older. Okay, let me finish this. So the police entered her house legally around 9:30 p.m. Friday, where they found Sarah in a living room. She was detained and read a copy of the search warrant. It says, this is law enforcement. When I got to the portion that read murder, she said, "Did you just say murder?" multiple times. A Fruitland police officer wrote in the affidavit. She also said, "I have never murdered anyone." Officials said Wandra maintained that she definitely did not kill that boy and said, "Oh, the Most High God already told me who did it." She reportedly told police, "Oh, wow, the Most High God just told me that Stacey was the one who killed him and buried him in the yard of the neighbor's house." When asked later to show police where the boy was buried, according to the affidavit, she told police of a spot near the entry of her residence and said Stacy had buried him in the backyard by the shed. There's more, but before, hold on one second. Remind me where I'm at. Mike, if you're still here, can I ask you a question? So I'm not sure if you heard me telling you the story. Mike is retired law enforcement, for anybody asking. The jail told somebody last night the charges of Sarah's charges last night. I did not think that was possible, but it's possible because when it was released today, it's word for word of what this person said.
So
Mike,
Sarah's saying that. Sorry.
One second. Yes. In jail, Mike, people that answer the phone, are they supposed to tell people what somebody's in there for, what the charges they're there for are? If that makes sense. Oh no, there's more. It gets weirder, Kate.
What? I didn't hear this. I thought it said, I thought based on the charges, maybe it was some accident or something, but if she's saying
No. Oh, it gets even more. So she shows them, right, in backyard by the shed. Police said by that point they had begun hand digging a portion of the Wandra's yard based on information received from Stacy, the husband, who had not been arrested or charged by Monday afternoon. It wasn't clear when or why police had spoken with Stacy. Remember, Stacy's the one that's been in prison since May. She's the husband.
So Sarah told them and Stacy told them.
Wow, that is good to know, Mike. Well, they went to Sarah's house because of Stacy, yes. Interesting. I had no idea about that, Mike. Thank you.
So Stacy, here's my...
Hold on, it gets weirder. You gotta wait.
Did you hear all his issues? All his what if there's no way he could be making this up, right? Or is she agreeing with it?
I'm about to read it. So they've begun digging the hand portion. It wasn't clear when or why police spoke to Stacy. Sarah Wandra was arrested and told police, God just told me that Stacy was the one who did it, adding that she knew the body was in the neighbor's yard because that's what Stacy, listen to this, that's what Stacy just told me. She then corrected herself and said, that's what God told her. According to the affidavit, she allegedly reiterated to the police that she had nothing to do with Michael's disappearance. She said her husband buried Michael in the backyard by the shed, but wasn't the one who actually harmed the boy. She said instead that a man identified only as Adrian had been the one that had done it, and he was scared to tell anybody. Police said by that point they had begun hand digging a portion of Wandra's yard based on information received from Stacy, which we knew. It wasn't clear why they had done it, and just that Sarah says that God told her that Stacy was the one that did it, even though she made that slip up. Now, Adrian. Hey, AG.
Is Adrian the guy who was laying on the couch in that one picture?
His name is Brandon, but listen, they had changed names. So they had this weird weird thing I noticed on their Facebooks and stuff. See, it's helpful to have a retired law enforcement because had I asked Mike first if the jail would release that, I wouldn't have looked like an idiot when I had to apologize to that person. Oh, exactly, Mike. Exactly. Because law enforcement caught her right in the affidavit. They literally caught her saying, Stacy told me. And then she went, God told me. Yeah. She knew. Stacy called her and told her they were coming. Thanks, AG. Hey, Remy. So this whole time she's known, or else she didn't know and he told her. But the Brandon is the guy that was on their couch. And allegedly there was a person living there at some point. But I'm telling you guys, Stacy Wandra's last name, Wandra is not his real last name. It's not his birth last name that I found. Mendoza. And I know, Mike, right? I know.
He got really religious too. Did you notice that? His TikTok their TikToks from like when he went missing on, he just talks about God in every freaking video, and he makes a bunch of like, it's almost like he was, you know.
Yep. Remy, there was a guy on the couch at one point. His name is Brandon, but they're saying there was a guy, Adrian. Now, the people coming at the neighbors is part of what is bothering Brandy, because I understand the neighbors have a record, but we have, like, I think, hasn't law
Brandy
enforcement...
said someone called the suspects.
Well, no, she called the Starkeys. So the suspects are the only, so far, the suspects that we have, that we think are these two that are in, or whatever. They called the Starkeys next door neighbors, Jonathan Lee Richard, whatever his name is. I don't know his last name. Richard something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there is a guy. Do I think that they'll, wait a minute, Kate, I sent you that picture. Wait, when was the guy on the couch? Either do I, Mike, and I'm not saying that their past isn't bad. I don't know what their past is. We know that they do have a record, but...
I'm trying to see if I can find it. I'm going down the...
Hey, Esther. AG, was it her that called the jail too? Okay, so yes.
BHB called the jail.
Well, so did this other person that knew last night what the charges were on... the charges that were on...
You know what I think's really strange too? So
I
maybe
thought
maybe Sarah did something and he was trying to cover for her, because literally the day before Monkey went missing, I think it was the day before, he said she was in the hospital and that she was sick. So like, was she in the hospital and didn't know, and he did something while she was away, or is he making like an alibi?
Because that's the thing, is that so I do wonder, because I thought there's that video surfaced around, right, that we see them driving in the car, and or we see the car driving in that field. Alex found it, or found the timestamp, Wolfie. It was like 8:42 that morning that he disappeared. I thought she was in the car with him, but there's some people that say she's not in the car. It's just him, that she was still in the hospital at that time. If that's the case, that puts him and whoever this other dude they're claiming to be Adrian is the only ones that are home.
Do you really see that guy digging a big ass hole?
That's the other thing.
He's a big fella. Like, I'm not trying to, sound mean, but
let's be real.
I know see that guy being able to dig a big hole without.
No, I couldn't dig a big hole. I mean, it's a big hole.
It's a huge hole. And he looks...
Hey, lighting the way. Yeah. So could it be two guys? For me, it's a... that's what I thought so too. For me, it's the motive I don't understand.
Me neither.
But I guess there doesn't have to be one, It's insane. And, well, that's what... Yeah, exactly, Gregory. Exactly. People are going hardcore at, I guess Richard Allen got a lawyer, a court-appointed lawyer, and people are harassing the lawyer and his family, allegedly.
No way.
Guys, he doesn't get a choice.
Yeah.
Like, if the judge appoints him...
He can't say no.
People have tried before to get out of trials, and the judge has said, no, you need to continue on. Like, if the judge appoints you, you can request to not represent them, but that doesn't mean that the judge is going to say okay.
They won't let you off unless it's like a conflict of interest or something.
I know. Hey, Devil-Dyed Elvis. Oh, AG, I know. I would like to think that, and I think Mike said it last night, that they'd have to have a pretty, even more so of like, than just... Mike, yes, thank you for reminding me of that. I have proof. Yes, I don't. Okay. They had a Lexus at the time Monkey disappeared. Last night I found, guess what? I found on random when I was searching his name. Oh, let me make something really clear too, because somebody called Melissa Jade out for this. I am not against people, internets. We're true crime people, right? We sleuth. I'm not against that.
Yeah.
I'm against going after families and attacking them and making their life hell when we don't have the information yet. That's
I mean,
what
I
I'm
do
against.
think it was a little unfair that she called that they announced this stuff before Brandy even knew, though. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. And can you imagine a drone flying over and spotting something and just
That bothered me a lot.
Yeah, so here we go. So Mike was right. They sold exactly, Remy. That's what I'm against. They sold the Lexus. So guess what? Sarah and Stacy Wandra leave a review for Kim's cars really helped us out when no one else would. We needed to act, and our credit score was in the low 500s. They worked with us and got us financed even. I am so grateful for them helping us to reach our goals. Now that we have this car loan, we're building our credit. We are making our payments work for us, blah, blah, blah. The truck we bought is also in phenomenal shape. And that is them referring to the Escalade that they have.
Yeah.
Hey, Navigator, I'm jumping all over the place, but I'm talking about Michael right now. So yeah, Mike's right. So they sold that and real quick and got the Escalade. And I also think that Mike is right. I think that Stacy called her right before from jail and said, like, I told them and that's why she came up with that God told me that Stacy did it. So are they the ones that released it, Remy? That's insane.
So there is a video of them going out of the house and getting into their car, and there's another fella in the front seat, and she says, "Me sneaking our friend a piece of chocolate," and she hands him something in the window. And
there's a friend that keeps appearing, and apparently his name is Brandon. Don't go stalking a Brandon because they could have other friends. I don't know. They didn't seem to have very many friends because all their friends they told off.
It's a white Escalade, but didn't the cops say that a white Honda Pilot was?
Yeah, I don't know if they. Hey, Sandy, I don't know if they've ever there was a Honda Pilot driving around. I don't know if that has been lighting the ways in here. PJ's in here. She would know if they were confirmed that was actually part of it, or if they were just looking for that. The scooter thing I heard had just came out, was just released. People weren't aware that they were actually looking for a scooter. Oh no, Remy, yes, that's what Remy, she's legitimately, that's what she's saying. She said God told her that Stacy, her husband, buried him in the yard. And then when she slipped up and said, Stacy told me he was buried in the yard, she said, oh, I mean, God told me, and corrected it, but the police already had her, basically. Hey, Sandy.
I'm looking to see if I can find an Adrian. We don't have a Facebook friend named Adrian.
Yeah, it's just, so to the best of my knowledge, they have not, they did not find anything today, but we haven't,
I get flashed and fucking blind.
So I do like Jennifer Coffindoffer. She says many questions. She's commenting on Twitter. Many questions and concerns asked about the charges against 35-year-old Sarah Wandra related to the death of Michael Vaughn. I found the date mentioned in the hearing disturbing. Please just listen as the judge explains the charges. Hey, can somebody? I gotta find her hearing. Hold on. Please understand that Ellie was told something only. Okay, yes, Mike. That's what I was looking for you to confirm that, right? Yep. That's what we keep saying with Richard Allen. 1 second. Kate, take it away. I got my daughter.
Please understand that Ellie was told something only someone involved would know. Anyone could lie about someone being buried, so they have something pretty solid. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I feel like they have to have something pretty solid because anyone could just be like, yeah, God told me they were buried in the backyard. Especially, it sounds like that guy, for one, is bipolar, has impulsive explosive disorder or something like that. And
Really?
yeah, he has a couple.
Gosh.
He wrote a letter to the judge asking if he could be released from jail before Monkey went missing. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember when it was, but he wrote a letter to the judge asking to get out early, saying that because of his illnesses, that's what, like, I guess maybe gets him in trouble and he needs help from them. He said he has Asperger's. He said he has bipolar, explosive disorder or something. IED.
Oh my gosh, that's not good. So what? Never mind. I'm going to say something. All right, I found this. Hold on. So Jennifer Coffendoffer says that we need to listen. She said, listen to the dates in this. She expects more charges on this chick to follow. So let's.
It's called intermittent explosive disorder. Symptoms: explosive outbursts of anger and/or violence, often to point of rage, that are disproportionate to the situation at hand. Impulsive shouting, screaming, excessive reprimanding triggered by relatively inconsequential events.
Wow.
Aggressive acts are frequently reported to be accompanied by a sensation of relief and in some cases pleasure, but often followed by later remorse.
Which could, okay. All right, let's listen to these dates here.
12th day of November of this year, here in the state of Idaho, fail to notify the coroner of a death, the death of Michael Vaughn, with the intent to prevent the discovery of the manner of death.
We continue to follow developing news out of Payette County. Police made an arrest in connection to the disappearance of Michael Vaughn. The little boy went missing from his Fruitland home in July of 2020.
This year, here in the state of Idaho, fail.
Wait. What did she just say this year?
12th day of November of this year.
Oh.
Here in the state of Idaho, fail.
All right, I'll let it play.
Coroner of a death, the death of Michael Vaughn, with the intent to prevent the discovery of the manner of death.
We continue to follow developing news out of Payette County. Police made an arrest.
This is 4 minutes long. We'll listen to it.
Disappearance of Michael Vaughn. The little boy went missing from his Fruitland home in July of 2021 when he was.
Oh, really, Navigator?
Police arrested 35-year-old Sarah Wandra for failure to
report
his death. Crews have been excavating the backyard of a home in a Fruitland neighborhood since Saturday. We now know that home is where Wandra has been living. We have team coverage from Payette County. News Channel 7's Abby Davis is outside the home in Fruitland where crews continue to dig in the backyard. But first, let's go to Alexandra Duggan outside the Payette County Courthouse in Payette, where Sarah Wandra was arraigned this afternoon. Alex?
Doug, today in court at 1:30, the state of Idaho alleges that Sarah Wandra on November 12th failed to notify police of a death. And they said that she covered up the way in which Michael Vaughn died. Now, we don't know if he has actually died. There's no confirmation from police just yet. Just know that investigators are still currently looking for his remains. That's what we've gathered from Fruitland police. And the judge also sealed the probable cause affidavit today in court, talking about why they arrested Wandra. Because they don't want to jeopardize a high case like this. And Huff said that he doesn't want to comment on that just yet. He wants to bring closure to the family in the right way, is what he told us just 20 minutes ago. He said the state said there are serious implications of Wandra being out and about and knowing about Michael's whereabouts for this entire year and a half that he has been missing. And in court, Wandra says she understands the charges that are being brought against her, but, that quote, it is not correct. And Huff told us 20 minutes ago, like I said, they will not say if they have found Michael or not, and that they don't want to jeopardize the case, but it's their goal to recover him.
I think so,
if
Remy.
needed. Back to you, Doug.
Alex, thank you there live from outside the Payette County Courthouse. Now let's continue our team coverage and head out to News Channel 7's Abby Davis. She is outside the home where crews have been excavating the backyard since Saturday. And Abby, it sounds like crews have just wrapped up for the day.
They have, Doug. That
Oh, whoops.
is right. They will actually be back in the morning, but as of now, you can see behind me, our photographer Logan will show you now. You can see that one
So I don't
heavy
know,
piece of
Gregory.
equipment there. The rest of it has left. The other backhoe has left. The dump truck has gone. But they did resume this morning. They started early this morning excavating the entire backyard. This is a home that is just about 4 minutes away from the Vaughn family home. We can see everything is shut down. We have that police tape back there. There are some law enforcement officials still kind of gathered around talking. But we do have some video of what the scene looked like earlier while they were actively digging.
I think Mike
and
hit the nail on the
searching.
head above.
There was a dog on scene I also saw. And then I was told yesterday that once again they were excavating the entire backyard. That was their plan, and that they were going to dig 3 to 4 feet. Now they obtained a search warrant and started working Friday night. They are taking all of this dirt off site where it will be processed. That is what Chief J.D. Huff told us yesterday. Now, this all came after a very credible tip. That is what Huff said. It was a very credible tip that came from someone inside of the house. And he said that they have received over 1,500 tips so far, but this one was the one that led them to this house very close to the Vaughn family home. Now, Huff said, once again, the investigation has moving parts like Alex already mentioned, but that their goal is to recover Michael and have a successful prosecution, but that once again, they'll leave no stone unturned. He said that they just have to do right by Michael's family and by the entire community that has been so closely watching this whole entire situation.
And Abby, have you gotten any indication if they will be back again tomorrow to continue the excavation?
She already said that.
Yes, early tomorrow. Huff said they'll be back around 9:30 a.m. And he did say that they will be bringing in some different equipment. As for what that means, though, he didn't specify.
Okay, Abby Davis now live in the neighborhood where police have been excavating.
Okay, well, so I'm a little confused. Let me stop sharing this for a second. Okay, they know something because, in my opinion, if they didn't know he was. Yeah, Mike, exactly. And we saw that. Look at with Leilani. We're almost certain, obviously Quentin's deceased and she's the one that did it, but she's not arrested so they must have something. I noticed the dates, though, when they said on November 12th, she tried to prevent, it is a weird wording, the cause of Michael's death or something like that.
Oh, and let me say this real quick. So I watched this documentary a long time ago called Crazy Not Insane. It's on Hulu, and it's about people who like snap and kill people, by the way. And they say so this lady, she's an expert who does brain scans on killers, and she said every killer that she's looked into had some kind of prefrontal cortex damage, like a tumor or injury, or they were abused as a child or something, and their brain didn't develop right, and that affected their impulse decision making, and they would, it would cause them to snap and do something like that. Well, as I'm reading about intermittent explosive disorder, it says that IED may also be associated with damage or lesions in the prefrontal cortex, with damage to these areas, including the amygdala. How do you say that?
Amygdala? That's how I say it. I don't know if that's right, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking of the one that they say in Billy Madison. Amygdala, you're right. And hippocampus, increasing the incidences of impulsive and aggressive behavior and the inability to predict the outcomes of the individual's own actions. Lesions in these areas are associated with improper blood sugar control, leading to decreased brain function in these areas, which are associated with planning and decision making. So a lot of times they make a stupid decision and don't really plan what happens after that decision. They just kind of like do it and don't think of the repercussions, things like that. So I found that interesting that it's similar to what she found about people who just snap and like she says it's usually not a random, like it's not like people just go and randomly kill their family or go start killing people. It's something that, you know, is like an injury to the brain, like if you got in a car accident and injured that part of your brain, or you have a tumor there, or, you know, things like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, that totally makes sense. Yeah, AG, that's possible. That's possible. What they have, but great example. Yeah. So I think I just heard my son. I hear my son and my husband just came home, and I heard him crying. So if he is crying, I'm good, because his ear hurts. I'm going to hop off, obviously, and go to him. I just can't tell if he's laughing or crying yet.
Okay. And fetal alcohol syndrome, Mel said, causes that. He also has had fetal alcohol syndrome. I forgot to add that.
Oh.
That was in his list of disorders. So he had fetal alcohol syndrome, IED, Asperger's, and bipolar, he said.
Oh, gosh.
I forgot he said fetal alcohol syndrome, but he did say that in his...
Oh, I'm sure they will, Gregory. I'm sure they will. So really quick, though, in case I do have to hop off of here, can you just address what you can? So let's really quickly talk about, I don't want to talk too much about, we've already talked a lot about Michael, because we're going to talk about it again tomorrow, and I think more things are coming out. And if you want to keep talking about it in chat, but Trinity's dad, we know, was on panel the other night on a channel.
Yeah, he's been on 2 channels. He's been on 2 channels so far. And let me just say,
go with it. Go.
He knows nothing about her. He has not been in her life since she was like 3 years old. I think he had tried but not really tried, if that makes sense. It's not really my place to speak on that, but you know, like somebody acting like they do something and then they don't show up, kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
Like he's not reliable at all, and he really doesn't know what happened. He's, I guess, just talking to people and speculating through things, but what he's not helping, because he's saying, he's putting speculation out there that's just not true. Like, and so I'm pretty sure I'm going to be interviewing her family tomorrow, and they're going to dispel a bunch of rumors. But what they really want to get out is that Trinity's boyfriend had nothing to do with this whatsoever, that he does not sell drugs, that he did not give her any drugs. It was just like a normal sleepover at her aunt's house. She had her friend there.
Oh, you caught that, Greg? Yeah.
Yeah, he's all over. I'd go search for her so what happened was she went to sleep, the aunt, but she said while she was awake, she didn't notice anything strange about Trinity. She was braiding her hair, hanging out with her friends. I mean, there wasn't really anything odd. You know, she said if she was acting strange, then I would have noticed something, because she's at my house all the time, but she didn't notice anything. After she had already laid down and went to bed, they heard like a scream, and Trinity took off running. Now, I'm going to ask this because I haven't confirmed it yet. I'm not exactly sure if she did say she was going to go to her boyfriend's house. She may have told like her friend that when she was freaking out. I don't know. But she was found a half a mile from her aunt's house in a ravine. They don't really know. Like, they don't have a cause of death. They don't have toxicology yet. But from what it sounds, and this is just my opinion, and let me just make that clear, that like they didn't say this to me. This is just from what I like, from what it sounds like to me, that maybe she, I think her and her friend like went outside to smoke, and and of course her aunt didn't know this, and it set off something in her, and she panicked, and maybe went into like a drug-induced psychosis and was freaking out and took off, and they were worried about her. She was in socks. She wasn't barefoot, but she was in socks and in like a robe and pajamas. But they were worried about her, and they were looking for her, obviously, like right away. They started looking for her. They had drones out there that could look for infrared, dogs. I mean, they did the whole 9 yards. Her father, who's been in her life, her mom's more recent husband, he is a cop. He's like a higher up cop, but he was out of town that day, and he's not in the investigation because it's like they don't let like family be in that, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much, there's nothing suspicious about it. To like, basically it's just one of those stories about teenagers doing stuff around, like when the parents are asleep or not paying attention, and things going wrong. Like, there's just a lady on Queen's panel just saying one night she had kids sleep over her house, and after she went to bed, she got woken up to like cops banging on her door, and the cops had brought home her son and like a bunch of people he was with, and they had taken acid, and it had, when they did the toxicology, there was all kinds of stuff in there, because you don't know what you're getting. You know what I mean? Like, wherever she got whatever from, and they don't know where she got it, or if she even was on that. They don't know because they haven't got a toxicology yet. But if she was on that, you don't know what's in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, Gregory, I think that's a really good question. And I think you're very respectful in how you ask things. I think if you ask, I mean, I can't, by the way, Kate speaks with the family, so I'm sure they would be willing to explain, or or might be able to answer that question, I'm sure.
Well, if she was having a like drug-induced psychosis is like a real thing, and sometimes it sets people off into like a panic, and people think that things are going on that aren't going on. I think she said something like there was like radiation in the house and she panicked and ran out, if I remember correctly.
Oh, wow.
And it caught, I don't know why the dogs would have lost their scent, but that will send somebody
Hey, Connor.
running, you know what I mean? And like that would definitely send somebody to just start running and freaking out. I mean, drug-induced psychosis is like no joke.
That's
But
a good
that-
point. I mean, if something was laced, that's a good point, Remy.
Yeah, or even what if they went, for all they don't know what, but they could have went out and smoked,
Yep.
and there could have been the weed laced with something, who knows?
And I agree, Mel. I'm looking forward to hearing their side of the story.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, the cops even said there's nothing suspicious about it. I mean, they don't really have the answers yet. They just know what, they.
Yeah. I mean, we'll know once the cause of death comes back, right? Like, if anything, we'll have a better idea. For sure. Just one story would be, I know, Gregory, I'm hoping Mom can do it. And everyone in Kate's is always respectful. It's sad that it's just sad that parents have to even do this, but
for Brandon to go on and make all the, like he created suspicion, at least it sounded like to me, where he was just, saying,
I didn't like him going after her friends.
Yeah, well, he went after everybody, like, well, why didn't they go search for her? They were searching for her. Like, he was just naming things he didn't know. And I guess he could have been like speculating out loud, whatever, but he was quick to throw out his Cash App. They asked him, is there like a GoFundMe or something we can share? And he says, oh, well, I'm not going to the funeral, but I'm in between jobs and have a baby on the way. Like, if you suddenly wanted to be the voice for your daughter, why wouldn't you be like, let me get the GoFundMe link, or yeah, send me the money and I'll give it to them for the funeral. Like, I can tell you right now, all that money they sent to his Cash App is not going towards the funeral. Not 1 cent of it. And I mean,
Well,
he
if he's
was
not going,
transparent. He was transparent that
Yeah.
it wasn't, but like, I don't understand why everyone was so quick to like believe this guy and hang on his every word when he's not even in her life. You know what I mean? He's just
Mhm.
some, like, I don't know. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, now you're gonna judge everyone's parenting. You know, teenagers are teenagers. Like, I did
Oh my
stuff right under my
gosh.
dad's nose, and he wouldn't even have known about it. And hopefully, he doesn't ever watch my stuff because I talk about that stuff all the time. But being honest, I can't tell you how many times I was drunk right under my dad's nose, and he had no idea, or he did know, and he just acted like he didn't. I don't know, but
That's what I'm saying. When you're kids, like when you have kids, and you're just happy some days that you make it. Hey, Allie, Connor, I think I said hi to you, that they're still alive at the end of the day, because I'll tell you, sometimes they just find a way to do something that.
I'll tell you what, I used to live with my aunt, and my cousin snuck out every damn night, and she has no idea still to this day. And she never, I mean, it would be like he'd be home, come home at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and she'd never know. And I'm just saying, like, parents, your parents just can't be
Right.
there or their eyes to see everything. And teenagers are sneaky, and they are smart, and you know what I mean? Like,
My gosh, I remember 6th grade. I told my parents, my teacher, because I was failing, that my parents were out of town and couldn't do a parent-teacher conference. I unplugged our phone so that she couldn't call to verify for like that whole weekend. And I got away with it until like I was in high school, and I finally came clean and we left. You know, my parents were like, "You did what?" So yeah, it's just kids are crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah, chances are her mom knew. Yeah.
I mean,
But
yeah, she could have known, but I mean, my aunt might know, hopefully. But yeah, I don't know. I told them to just get like a bullet point, make some bullet points of what they want to get across. I told them to take their time and figuring it out, because I know they're really upset right now that Brandon is kind of like, going on and like spewing this information, which is causing them hate. I mean, there's whole podcasts going after Ashley and everything now. She didn't really do
saw
anything.
some on Facebook that was really horrible.
Yeah, and I said, just make sure you get everything that you want to say together first, because I know they're really emotional right now, and they're dealing with a lot, and I don't want her to come up.
I'm sorry, that's gonna.
Yeah, he's still reaching.
I can't. I'm gonna get coughing. But I think that's good for her to have bullet points, because then, like Gregory said, then there's one story. That's it. Like, it's right
Well,
here.
that's what I said. Make me some bullet points, and then give me the bullet points, and then I'll ask the questions for the bullet points. But I want to make sure she doesn't come up and get overly emotional and just start, putting all the info about, the dad
True.
out. Because
good point.
It spirals and affects
Yeah.
Probably his family. So I can
That's
tell
a
you
really
right
good
now,
point.
he's not, like, in my opinion, he's not a good guy, and there's a reason why she's not in his life. And I'll just leave it at that. And I think before just taking this guy's word for anything and acting like he suddenly wants to be, a voice and be the caring parent now, like, it just made me so mad listening to this guy, because I'm like, he was so quick, not even to throw out his Cash App, but then be like, "Oh, you should hear all this other true crime stuff I can talk about." Like, I'm not going to the funeral. Like, he made everyone feel bad for him, and everyone was just like fell on every word, and we're like, we don't even know this guy or anything about him, and just before you go believe in what this guy says,
Yeah.
And
I think it's at 10, Gregory, that your live will be at like 10, right, or something along those lines.
Yeah, probably around 10, because they're in Cali.
Oh, that's right.
I don't want it to be like too early for them, so like probably 10 my time, like 7 for them.
Wow, Remy, I'm just thinking of the way talking about this whole story. And all of a sudden, like, Jesus, he's still reproducing.
Oh, so that lady on Queen's panel, she said the cops brought her kid home they were running around naked and like all kinds of stuff. And she was like, you wouldn't believe all the stuff that was in there. And she had no idea. They slept over and they left the house, you know? And so it's just like, you know, an example of what can happen like right under your nose. And
I don't know why this has sent me over. I think it's just I'm tired. I can't stop having it. It's just the way he said it, like you're explaining this really deep conversation. He's like, oh God. Like it just hit him that he was having another baby.
oh yeah, apparently he has a lot of children too. So you're right.
All right, y'all. Well, I am gonna go. I did hear my son. He's not crying, but I still want to go to him. And so thanks for listening tonight. And you know, those are the facts that we know about Michael. And I'm just gonna kind of leave it there until we know more tomorrow and stuff. And let's just pray for his family's sake that no one does anything stupid and shows up or flies drones over or anything, and just like this is a lot to process for those poor people.
His poor
Like they
mother,
were,
too. Like,
she was pretty shocked, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, Gregory. All right, guys, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you all.
All right.
Bye.
See ya. Good night.